You ever wake up one morning, look out over land your own hands bled for, and realize somebody else has planted their damn flag on it? Yeah, that's how it started for me. Except it wasn't a flag. It was a row of brand new, industrial-grade HOA signs gleaming in the sun like an army staking its claim. You think it's a prank at first, maybe some teenagers with too much time and not enough chores, until you count 6 metal posts on the north line alone, spaced like they mean business, hammered into sandstone with concrete and rebar. And it doesn't feel like a joke anymore. I'm Cody Shepard, 45, ex-Army Corps of Engineers, and I know every inch of my 500-acre spread outside Monticello, Utah, like the back of my own scarred hands. This land's been mine a decade, past federal survey, no strings attached, and I can walk every fence post, creek bed, and trail blindfolded. So when some HOA, some Canyon Echo Ranch folks, decide my soil looks ripe for the taking, well, let's just say they picked the wrong guy to play Monopoly with. First thing I did was yank one of those signs right out. Damn thing weighed a ton. Took a few photos of the scene and called my lawyer, John. Told him, "You're not gonna believe it, but the HOA's making a land grab." He didn't laugh, just told me to send everything over and said he'd draft a cease and desist. You know what I mean? That's when you know it's real, when your lawyer doesn't even crack a joke. By nightfall, I'd mapped the place with my drone, thinking maybe there'd be a dozen more signs. Turns out there were 37, all creeping around my property line like some kind of silent invasion. And just like that, the next day, there's a letter from the HOA in my mailbox, stamped and signed by one Karen Webley. Never met her, but that name stuck in my head now like a bad country song. The letter's all legalese about community integration and ecological reassessment, but here's what it really says. We like your land. We might take it. Stay tuned. I'd seen HOAs work their schemes before, slowly bleeding folks dry, adding fines, squeezing them into selling off, swallowing up land like their Pac-Man. But those were people who bought into the perimeter. My ranch. It predates their fancy subdivision, their rules, their meetings. But it was clear, they were going to pencil me in whether I liked it or not. I didn't rant or scream. I started a file. Every detail logged, time-stamped, documented with the kind of precision only an Army vet or a man with something to lose can muster. Photos, GPS logs, drone footage, the works. That night, complaint filed with the county, evidence backed up in 3 places, and every pulled sign laid out in rows on my trailer, neat as courtroom exhibits. That's the thing about fighting folks who hide behind paperwork. You gotta outpaper them. Next day, I roll into the county office. The clerk, Owen, slides a new folder my way, boundary updates, my land swallowed in a provisional ecological zone. The paperwork? Forged signatures from folks dead over a decade. You don't forget who taught you to brand cattle, you know? It's so obvious it almost makes you laugh, but Owen just shrugs. That's above his pay grade. I snap pictures of everything, get it certified, and head home, calling in Blake Holman, an old topographer friend with a knack for drone overlays. Blake and I spent a whole day mapping every inch. By dusk, we had proof. 47 signs, GPS tagged, covering nearly 500 acres. They used old plats, elevation data, easement curves, you name it. They weren't guessing, they were calculating. The next twist? A black SUV rolls up, 2 guys in polos and body cams trying to serve me with vandalism claims for removing their markers. I show M my deed, tell M they're trespassing, and by noon a real deputy, Eric, guy I went to high school with, comes out, tips his hat, and says the land's mine, always has been. But he warns me, HOA's getting pushy all over town. I guess I'm just the first one crazy enough to push back. What do you do when a machine keeps coming? You dig in. I spend the next few days digging through records, deeds, federal patents, everything. Find my great-granddad's land patent from 1909, signed by the Secretary of the Interior, and pin it right over my desk. Let's see Karen and her HOA try to rewrite that. The HOA sends more letters, legal threats, and then, my personal favorite, a phony directive from a non-existent San Juan zoning liaison, ordering me to vacate my own land for an emergency ecological survey. They spoofed the county email, copied the letterhead, the whole 9 yards. But see, I traced the metadata. It came straight from the HOA's own server. Marcia, the deputy clerk at the county, doesn't even blink. We don't have a zoning liaison, she says. Never have. Criminal investigation gets opened, real quick. Suddenly, state agents are at my ranch, collecting evidence, treating every sign, every fake document, like a bullet casing at a crime scene. Agent Alvarez, boots, no tie, grins as he turns over one of those signs. Welded, powder-coated. This wasn't cheap, he says. No kidding. The local news picks it up. And then things get wild. Flyers start popping up all over town, my ranch highlighted with arrows, the words "Who does this land really belong to?" printed in bold. Karen's on the record talking about restoring balance for future generations. Balance. That's rich. I drive through Canyon Echo. Neat little boxes, copy-paste homes, their admin building waving a flag about togetherness. I snap a photo, then go home and draft my own sign. Private land, federally recorded. Touch it again and meet my lawyer. But the next escalation is more sinister. A young deputy shows up. Except he's not in the system, not a real cop, just another actor trying to hand me a cease and desist from the HOA Municipal Enforcement Liaison, which, again, doesn't exist. I get the real sheriff and Eric out here, show them the video, the envelope, the fake badge number. Within an hour, warrants are flying. The HOA's model home HQ is crawling with county investigators, and Karen's pacing behind the blinds. The news catches up fast. Karen's face on every local station, mid-scream, trying to claim they unknowingly employed a third-party enforcement vendor. Yeah, that happened. Prosecutors pile on the charges, impersonating law enforcement, fraudulent notices, illegal surveillance, found a camera disguised as a birdhouse. Can you believe it? The works. Then, something nobody saw coming. More ranchers, more landowners, all over the county, start sharing their own stories. Fences moved, random inspections, disappearing parcel boundaries. HOA's been at it for years, but I guess it takes one fool with a file cabinet and a grudge to drag the whole mess into the sun. I invite everyone over for a barbecue. Steaks, beers, just talking. By the end, we have maps, affidavits, and a group ready to fight back. Not a protest, just people tired of being pushed around. And then, subpoenas. Monday morning, courthouse packed with news vans. The DA's office filing criminal charges against Canyon Echo HOA. Karen named as the ringleader. Court's a circus. Prosecutor Evelyn lays out everything. Maps, fake signatures, grant misuse, law enforcement impersonation, drone shots of their signs planted across my fields. The defense tries to play it off as harmonizing land use for regional sustainability. But the judge, tough, old school, no patience, just stares. By fabricating ownership over property that clearly belongs to someone else. Silence. They motion for dismissal, say my land was unmaintained scrub subject to civic reassignment. I can't help but laugh out loud. Judge lets me speak. I cleared every field, run cattle through every acre. Got records for everything. If that's unmaintained, they've never held a shovel. Motion denied. But the games aren't over. Anonymous threats, dead animals left in mailboxes, a midnight alarm with two figures caught on my drone camera dumping more HOA signs by my creek. It's like they just can't help themselves. Judge finally drops the hammer. No more signs, no more representatives, no more claims until the trial ends. And for the first time, the other side starts to crack. When it all comes down, the courthouse is standing room only. What started as a one-man standoff is now a tidal wave. Karen, cuffs on, hair perfect but eyes empty, listens as the verdict's read. Guilty of criminal trespass, fraud, forgery, harassment, misuse of public funds, the works. 12 years in state prison, no parole for 8. The HOA, operations suspended, assets frozen, court orders to rip out every last sign at their own expense. And me? $3.7 million in compensation, restoration, legal fees, and enough evidence to write a damn book. But that's not the win. The win is walking my land after, sky wide open, no signs but the one I made, steel, deep etched. Private property begins here. If you disagree, take it to court. I win those. We had a barbecue. Folks laughed, sheriff ate ribs, even Evelyn's scary potato salad made an appearance. Justice tastes a lot like smoked brisket and quiet nights under stars you know by name. But you know what? Even as the dust settles, part of me knows it's not over. Because justice in a place like this, it's never just about paperwork or courts or headlines. It's about people drawing a line and daring anyone to cross it. So, where's the line for you? Who decides what's fair, what's right, and what's just another neighbor reaching over your fence? I told my story, and I'm standing my ground. What about you? Let me know down below. Was I right? Was I wrong? Or is this just how the world works now? Share your thoughts, your stories, your take on justice. Because I guarantee you, this is far from the last land war you'll hear about in America.